Narrating.
Hey guys, we're back. This is Fallstreak. The seasons turn. With them, an autumn leaf falls. As promised, Fina had willed everything under the family name to Mallory. The two of us held a small service for her in a playground near the hospital. I didn't know what kind of relationship Mallory had with her older sister, but the way she stood unmoving for hours on end before Fina's remains made me think. I think it might be hard for you to understand, Amy, since you've never had a family before. The concept known as family was truly something I didn't understand. Several months passed uneventfully as the seasons followed their due course. However, a startling realization dawned upon us as the year went by. Mallory was with child. When the day of delivery came to pass, a healthy young girl was brought kicking and screaming into the world. We ended up naming the baby Alouette. Hey, backstory! Amno Mundi 200. A year of the fire of collapse. Mommy! Mommy! Gurgling noisily, Kalia waves her hands and reaches out for me. Where do you think you're going, Kalia? I watch on as she crawls under my dress and pokes her head out from beneath the folds. Not you too, Triss. This little one had a habit of following after his adventurous sister's example. Mata? Poking his head out alongside his sister, he peers into my eyes with a curious expression. Heh. Looks like they're trying to get back into their original home. Autun Lirit, a man whose hands always seemed to be occupied with something. Even now, he was hunched over a table, nimbly working a series of fixtures into a strange mechanical contraption. I'm not letting you back in there. You two kick too much. Mata! What is this child doing? Kalia can speak normally, but what is this Mata Triss keeps saying? It's sort of pissing me off. Autun makes a troubled expression, but doesn't break his fine line of concentration. I think he's trying to combine Mama and Dada into one word. He's got an innovator's blood in him. Shoo, you little rascals. I set back into my seat after chasing out the two naughty scamps. Oh, wah! Daddy's busy. Go bother Mommy, you two. Kalia, Triss, come here. A silence broken only by Autun's continued tinkering descends upon the room as the twins sit down obediently before me. Brushing my fingers against their noses, I note with mild amusement how starkly different their reactions are. While Kalia squeals and tries to nibble on my finger, Triss scrunches up his face all funny, as if he was about to sneeze. Aha, there, that should do it. It seemed he had completed his tuning of the mechanical device. At long last, Autun detaches himself from the seat he had been glued to all night. He wipes his forehead and brings the fruit of his toil over to us. This should make a fine toy for these two. With a smile, he winds up a little lever on the device. Upon release, a simple musical tone begins to flow from it. The twins stare with rapt attention as he kneels and holds the device out before them. I watch on as the two children struggle over the right to examine the toy first. Why do you build things, Autun? Why do I build things? Because it's fun? Autun stretches his stiff limbs widely, cracking his joints in the process. Oof, that really hits the spot. Dad pushed me to pursue construction because of how stable the field is, but it's intricate stuff like clockwork that have always been my passion. From designing architecture to inventing contraptions, Autun's always had a penchant for building things, and he certainly possessed the talent to match that passion. Hey, Kalia, don't hit your brother like that. The fight over possession of the toy had escalated to a miniature brawl. He's a big dumby. Wah! Teardrops begin to stream down Triss's face after a convincing Kalia kick plants his little behind onto the floor. Aw, not again. Why can't you two be nice to each other? Pulling out my handkerchief, I dab away the clear droplets flowing from Tristan's eyes. Mallory is expecting my company after work today. Take care of them while I'm gone. When I finish wiping away the tears, I walk to the door and slip on my boots. What? That's not fair. You spend more time with Mallory than you do with me. Crossing his arms, Atun pouts. I like her more. Why didn't you marry her instead then? She doesn't roll that way, so I had to make do with you. Jokes like that sting, you know. And what makes you think I'm joking? Toying with Atun was criminally easy. You children behave now. I boop Atun on the nose. I'm not a 2-year-old. No matter how gruff he may act, though, in the end, he's just a hopelessly big softy. You're sulking. No, I'm not. All right, then. Bye. Atun makes a lonesome noise as I stride out the door. Fine, take your time coming back. It's been a while since I had the house to myself. Oi, what are you doing, Kalia? Let's play, Daddy, let's play! Mada! Heh. You two watch over Daddy for me, okay? Don't act like I'm the one that needs watching. Upon arriving at the Basia household, I'm greeted by a familiar face. It's Amy. Hello, my po-faced dearie. Geez, is that how you greet your childhood bestie? Mallory squeezes my cheeks with a stupid smile. I grumble dourly as she plays with my face. This woman sure had a curious way of greeting people. Your deadpan expression is so cute, Amy. I always have this expression on. Doesn't that just mean you're cute all the time? If you don't know how to react, you can always blush and fidget and go, you really mean that, Mallory? No. Flatly vetoing the notion, I show my way into her home. Mallory's flights of fancies snowball out of control at a frightening rate. If you let her have her way. Aw, you're no fun. We take our seats at the dining room table where tea has already been prepared. It's been 15 years now, huh? 15 years since we first met. Mallory looks off into the distance with a gaze of weary reminiscence. On that snowy day 15 years ago, I was born. Under the name Amine, my time started moving, bringing me all the way to this day. Socratrine's changed so much since then. It's only been 5 years since the Master's Revolution, but the Verloren Master's rule has brought such prosperity. The UL refugee convoy, their arrival changed everything. Though refugees in name, in an ironic twist, it was their arrival that liberated Socratrine from its deterioration. Their mobile production facilities single-handedly lifted Socratrine from its years-long famine, and in a miraculous matter of months, their bioagent eradication corps wiped out the plague. Factories, industry, contemporary science, and advanced infrastructure. It felt like we had been ushered from a time of deprivation to one of prosperity in the blink of an eye. Socratrine was not the only thing that changed, though. I look over at Mallory as she brings a teacup to her lips. She was now a lovely, fully matured woman, happily married and mother to 3 healthy children. It was the very picture of a bright future. I would have never imagined it back then. I can still remember holding her sobbing figure whenever she awoke in the middle of the night. You were always the one finding a way to provide for us back then. I wanted to be able to protect you as well, instead of always being the one protected. Your strength and kindness, I've always envied it, Amy. I'm not a kind person, nor am I strong. I was just desperate. The period between Alouette's birth and the Master's Revolution survival had balanced on the edge of a knife. But there is always a way so long as one is willing to get their hands dirty. I have no regrets about the path I've carved. Mallory and Alouette are here now today. We are alive, along with all the others we hold dear, and that's all that matters to me. You really are a kind person, Amy. I'm not. You are. It didn't seem like she'd budge on the issue. Stubborn. Geez, how come you accept it when Atun says it, but not when I say it? I hit him when he says dumb things like that. Do you remember how I met my hubby? No, actually, why don't you tell this story again for the 960th time? Oh, you. When did you become so sassy, Amy? My first meeting with Idone. With Idone? Yeah. My first meeting with Idone, maybe? I don't know. My first meeting with I was so romantic. Fishing a suicidal man out of E in the rain doesn't strike me as very romantic. You're just wording it unflatteringly. I, Basia, a young man who, I'm gonna just call him like Idone. I'm gonna call him Idone. Idone Basia, a young man who had lost his entire family to plague. Mallory met Idone for the first time when crossing the fated bridge that overlooked E. Known by its epithet, Heaven's Fall, it was a place where the lost and weary yielded their lives to the river of eternity. Even if the drop didn't kill you, being carried beyond Socratine border by E was a death sentence. Prolonged exposure to the mist wreaked havoc on the mind and body after all. It was really surprising, though. Yeah. It was really surprising how calm he seemed. Oh, Amy, humor me a bit, would you? Standing on the very edge of Heaven's Fall, ready to cast it all away. That was when Mallory came up to him under the falling rain. Hello, I'm Mallory. Can I come over and talk with you a bit? And then she just listened to him. She didn't tell him everything would be okay or that she understood him. Just lent an ear and encouraged him to go on. That continued on for a while, but then, I want to thank you, Mallory, but I have to go. To the one before her, to forfeit his life, Mallory spoke. Please live. But her plea fell upon unhearing ears. Without any hesitation, he stepped into the air. Of course, Mallory was not the type of person that could ever walk away from that. She plunged into the water after him, dragged his unconscious figure to the land, and pounded the breath back into him. When Idone awakened, he couldn't understand why he had been saved. He had already given up on everything after all. Please live and suffer. What Mallory had to say were not words of comfort, though. Rather, what came from her mouth was a harsh decree. The only truth of this world is that you need not suffer alone. Won't you suffer with me? Won't you suffer with me? Real courting words, those are. Alright, maybe romantic isn't the best way to describe it, but our first meeting was really something. Jumping into E on a rainy day. She's honestly such a bonehead. I guess you could say you fell for each other that day. But suddenly, the atmosphere freezes over. No way. Could it be? Did you just make a joke, Amy? No, you're imagining things. Mallory clutches at her stomach as she bursts into laughter. It was a nice one, too. Amy, making a joke. Tears were visibly squeezing out from under her eyelids, such was the extent of her laughter. Oh, what's next? Is fire going to rain from the sky? I click my tongue. Atun makes dumb jokes all the time, so it might have rubbed off on me, that's all. Oh. Are you blushing? It can't be. How is my Amy this cute? A grin on her face, Mallory noisily starts squeezing my cheeks again. If my cheeks are flushed, it's because you hound them all the time. But while I object, I make no real effort to resist. I guess you could say I didn't really dislike it all that much. Now that I think about it, you've never told me about how you met Atun. I want to hear about it. Please? She peers up at me with wet puppy dog eyes. Fine. It was around a year or so after the Master's Revolution. Lunch break. I was on lunch break when it happened. I shut my eyes as memories of that time overtake my vision. It's cold. I dip my bare feet into the water and watch as the little waves lap around my ankles. A pond in a secluded grove. Though hardly that far away, not many seem to know about this place. It's peaceful. Time's ceaseless advance, time's indifferent passage. Tick-tock it goes, the clock's unyielding hand. A dial that chases after nothing. Too peaceful. I hold my hand out before me. It was a foreign sensation, cold steel, red blood. images that have long overlapped with my hand. They were not there. The taste of another's fading life, once intimate to me, it was now nothing more than a distant memory. I wonder why. It makes me feel so empty. It was like being suspended in a dream I could not awaken from, one with layers that ran deep, continuing on, no matter how many I peeled off. It didn't make any sense, but it made me feel uneasy. As I ponder my reflection, the water surface changes. The reflection of a young man had appeared next to mine. Though I heard him coming, I had expected him to continue on past me. Annoyingly enough, though, he starts speaking to me. "Hello there, miss. Do you mind if I sit down next to you?" Wanting him to just go away, I don't reply, but he doesn't seem to get the cue. "I've noticed you sit here at the same time every day. It's a nice place, isn't it? I'm pretty fond of it, myself." Maybe you don't actually like this place? Though, since you're always sitting here, you probably like it, right? Yeah, that makes sense, I think. He scratches his head awkwardly. To tell the truth, I'm not very good at talking to girls. I guess there's Belly, but she doesn't really count. She'd totally be mad if she heard me say that. Oh, that's not to say I think you're just a girl, though. You look pretty mature. Though you also look pretty young. You're pretty. How long was he going to keep babbling? Though I had no real interest in him, an appetizing aroma causes me to turn my head in his direction. He was carrying a bag of bread. Unfortunately, Alouette had eaten my lunch last night, meaning food was invariably going to catch my attention. Skipping a meal every now and then was hardly cause for concern, but Mallory had scolded her to the point of tears. This? It's a loaf of bread. You've seen one before, right? He cringes at his idiotic question, even as it leaves his own mouth. My God, Autun, of course she's seen a loaf of bread before, you dunce. Reaching into his bag, he takes a loaf in hand and holds it out. I stare at the steaming bread before me. You're giving it to me? Yeah. Oh, that's the first time I've heard your voice. It sounds cool, like nothing can faze you. Unless you want to be fazed. It's nice to be fazed every once in a while. Ignoring his incessant chattering, I take the bread and make quick work of it. Wow, you must have been pretty hungry. Not to say you're fat or something if you weren't. My name is Autun. You said it before while muttering to yourself. Yeah, Autun. Autun Lyrit, that's my name. Autun looks expectantly at me. He was probably waiting for me to give him my name. Awkward. So nice weather, huh? Autun turns to the pond and laughs nervously. I know. You know, there's a story that's been passed down about this pond. A story? Yep. Legend has it that long ago this pond was used by a mother to drown her child who suffered from crippling birth defects. The mother wished to release the child from its painful fate, but her despair was such that she held herself under the surface until she drowned as well. Back then, this pond had apparently been so black and filthy you couldn't see the bottom of it. The people believed it to be haunted, claiming sobs and cries could be heard from it in the dead of night. A priest was shown the pond and asked to exorcise it. But to that request, the priest said something baffling. He said that he'd never seen a more pure and pristine pond in his life. Cupping his hands in prayer, he drank the dirty water reverently to the shock of the villagers around him. As the people discussed what happened in a town meeting, one person stood up and claimed that the pond has always appeared clear and pristine to their eyes. The days passed by, with more and more people speaking of the pond as beautiful until everyone was saying it. Then one morning, the townspeople awoke to discover that the pond had transformed to become the reality they claimed was truth. Autun bends down and splashes the sparkling water idly with his hands. It is said that at a certain time of day, if one sits here all alone, the sound of a cooing mother and a laughing baby can be heard. It's a strange story, isn't it? Something about the story resonated with me, stirring something deep inside. May I ask you something? What color is this pond? It's just blue, right? Indeed. I dip my hands into the pond and scoop out a handful of water. What color is the water in my hand? It's clear. It doesn't have a color. So it changes color? Atun scratches his head. I guess that's how it works? Even though the water is actually clear, if enough of it comes together in one place, it'll look blue. I see. So it's a lie. Isn't it fine, though, even if it's a lie? I think it's beautiful. It's real to me, and I believe in it. So you don't need to make a face like that. What kind of face had I been making? Anyways, I have to be off now. It was nice talking to you. Atun turns to leave, his shoulders slumped. Amine. Huh? My name. Amine. He smiles widely. What a wonderful name. Will you be here tomorrow? Perhaps. Alright, I'll see you then, Amine. Like an overexcited child, Atun turns and runs off. Yeah, I got her name! He fist pumps vigorously as he scampers away, causing the bread to fall from his arms and scatter all over the ground. Moldy onions! Look what you've done now, Atun. Oh, I hope she didn't see me. Oh my gosh, you two are so adorable. So romantic. Mallory, please. He tried to woo me with a story about a mother who murder-suicided their disabled child. There's something wrong with your sense of romance. What? I think I figured out a way to your heart, Amy. You're going to say something stupid, aren't you? Remember when we first met? The first thing I did was give you a loaf of bread, too. You're like a cat. You only open up to someone if they feed you. You can't be serious. Her grin was starting to get on my nerves. Oh, I'm so glad you told me that story. I'm regretting it now. Oh? Is that Alouette I see? What are you doing up, sweetie? Alouette was peeking into the room from the kitchen doorway. It had gotten quite late during my stay. Alouette can't sleep. Come here, you. Alouette rushes over and buries herself in her mother's warm embrace. Geez, you're such a spoiled child. Even as Mallory says that, she indulges herself as well, rubbing her cheek against Alouette's hair. Auntie Amine is here too. Next, Alouette scurries over and hops into my lap. She was rather attached to me since I had raised her alongside Mallory for much of her life. Will you be joining us for tea as well? Alouette shakes her head. Not sweet. Alouette doesn't like tea. Mummy, when is Pap coming home? Idone was quite the workaholic. Since his workplace was far away, he generally only returned home once a week. He's coming home tomorrow, actually. Yay! You should bring Atun and the twins over, Amy. It'll be fun. Perhaps I shall. Kalia and Triss are coming? Let's play, let's play! Alouette starts hopping around energetically at the prospect of us visiting. Oh, you're so full of energy now. How are you going to get back to bed? Play, play! I'll be taking my leave now. It's getting rather late. Okay, see you tomorrow then? Maybe. Geez, you always give such non-committal answers, Amy. Say goodbye to Auntie Amine, Alouette. Bye-bye, tomorrow. Let's play. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this episode, so stay tuned for the next episode.
Thanks for watching!